If you hate Judy Austin, this is the perfect place for you to be. If you love Judy Austin, this is also the perfect place for you to be. Because here's the thing, if you hate Judy Austin, the narrative we're about to explore may entertain you. It might even make you feel justified. And if you love Judy Austin, then you absolutely need to hear this, because if the rumors we are analyzing turns out to be true, you'd need the insight, the understanding, and the psychological tools to know how to help her navigate what might be happening now behind closed doors. And if you're somewhere in the middle, not really a fan and not really a hater, then grab a seat anyway, because this is going to be an interesting dive into human psychology, emotional reactions, and the 5 stages of grief through the lens of one of Nollywood's most controversial personalities. So whichever side of the fence you stand on, this is where you need to be. Let's explore the evolving story of Judy Austin and the 5 stages of grief she may be experiencing, if the rumors are true. But before we go deep into the story, I would like to take a moment to ask you to please like this video. I notice a lot of people watch the video but they end up not liking, probably because they forget, or I'm not yet there when it comes to YouTubers. We are still new and trying to find our place. But nevertheless, please like the video so you can support the channel and help her grow, because the more you like, the more YouTube pushes the video. And if you haven't subscribed, take a moment to subscribe, because what we have on this channel is real in-depth psychological analysis. We're not just doing surface gossip. We're talking about deep revelations. So if this is something you love or something you're synced with, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment also about what you think about this whole story. So let's dive straight into it. Before we dive into Judy's possible emotional journey, let's take a moment to understand what grief really is. Because grief is not just about death or loss of life. A lot of people think it's only when you lose someone or someone dies. No. In psychology, grief is much bigger than that and far more complex. It is the emotional response we experience when something important to us changes, breaks, or is taken away. It can come from losing a loved one, losing a relationship, losing stability, losing identity, or even losing a future we once believed in. Grief is not just about sadness. It can show up as confusion, anger, denial, numbness, regret, withdrawal, or even bursts of false positivity. And psychologists have observed that many people move through grief in 5 major emotional stages, not always in order, not always neatly, and not always predictably. These are the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. You might be wondering how this is related to Judy Austin. But if the rumors we are hearing about her separation from Yul Edochie is true, Judy Austin will go through these 5 stages of grief. And let me just let you know, it is not a pleasant experience. We're going to explore that now. To understand the weight of what may be unfolding right now, we must return to the beginning. Not the gossip, not the headlines, but the emotional architecture of the world Judy Austin built for herself. Judy didn't just enter Yul's life. She completely reconstructed it. She stepped into a family that had existed long before her, almost 2 decades, and then she shifted the dynamics. She altered the destinies of everybody involved, and she rewired a man's home and planted herself at the center. Under her shadow, the foundation of Yul's marriage cracked. Under her watch, a new life, then another, and another entered the world. And as the backlash grew, Judy didn't bend, she didn't even tremble. If anything, she stood taller. Every smile on camera was a declaration. Every dance video was a calculated provocation. Every TikTok video was a message. We are here. That was what she was trying to tell us. We are unshakable. Judy came into Yul's life, took over Yul, and they lived for the social media. They lived loudly, defiantly, publicly, almost to the point of obsession. It was as though they were obsessed with the media. They filmed their laughter, they filmed their intimacy, they even filmed mockery videos directed at me, and they filmed their rebellion to the entire Nigeria. Even as people were calling for their silence, calling for them to go into their homes, they were rebellious, and they filmed it for us to see. The internet became their stage. It was as though they were acting some sort of drama. Nigerians, we became their audience. May Edochie's pain became the background and the foundation of everything they were doing. For years, Judy believed she was writing her own love story, But life has a way of revealing the chapters we didn't expect, and the storms we thought would never come. Because now the script seems to have changed, the camera has gone quiet, the dancers have stopped dancing for such a long time that it has got people wondering what is going on. And now the rumors are flying that there is a separation. Things are no longer the way it seems. And even though there has been denials here and there, what if it was true? Because from the things we are seeing, there might be some truth in it. After all, they say there is no smoke without a fire. So if these rumors are true, it means the storm that has been gathering in silence is finally breaking. The rumors itself began like whispers. Yul no longer lives with her. Yul is now in Asaba. Judy is in Abuja. That's like thousands of miles away. He's getting closer to Lizzie Gold. We all can see it. They are no longer shooting content together. That's Yul and Judy. He deleted her from his pages. Whispers are now growing into conversations, because what we are seeing is a man who is systematically deleting Judy's history from all his social media pages. Now the conversations are no longer conversations, they are turning into major headlines, and the headlines are becoming theories. And suddenly the perfect digital couple disappeared from each other's worlds. There are no more dual videos, no more playful taunts, and no more couple of the year antics. You know, they were trying to prepare us, including myself, because let me be honest, I try to stay neutral when it comes to things like this. But those videos they made, I was very upset, because as someone who has some sort of knowledge of psychology, I was imagining not just the emotional and psychological impact of those videos on May. Let's assume May is an adult, but even though she's an adult, does that make her immune to pain? My own concern were majorly the children who were grown up enough to have mobile phones and access to the internet. Imagine this, your father that you've known, that you've grown up with, suddenly starts dancing and behaving like I don't know, like a child with another woman that isn't your mother, especially when some of those videos are directly mocking your mother and her pain. I cannot imagine the psychological torture those children had to go through. So everything they did was like a direct mockery to the entire Nigeria. Now we are seeing silence, a louder silence than any scandal. Then came the systematic deletions. First pictures, then videos, then movies from his YouTube channel. Every single movie that belongs to her is gone. One after the other, Yul began erasing evidence of the life they had built, as though hitting reset on a story he no longer wanted to tell. People are asking, is this rebranding? Is this pressure? Is this about the lawsuit that was filed against them by May Edochie? Are they afraid of paying 100 million naira? Is this guilt? Or is this karma? But psychologically, erasure is one of the first indicators that someone is emotionally disengaging. You delete what you no longer want to feel connected to. And if that is the case here, then Judy's world may be shaking harder than she ever imagined. This is where psychology takes over now. When a relationship begins to fracture, the human mind doesn't follow a neat timeline. It spirals, it loops, it reaches for anything to make sense of the collapse. For Judy Austin, if the rumors are true, the spiral may have begun long before the public noticed. And let me state this clearly, it is going to be a catastrophic spiral of events. Why? Because in a span of 4 short years, Judy felt it was alright to have 3 kids for a man who left his wife. I think there is this African parable, or is it parable we'll call it, but there's this African wise saying that says the broom that was used on the first wife is definitely hanging somewhere waiting for the second wife. So a woman who has brain cells functionally working should at least pause. The first child, let's agree, was a mistake. How about the second? How about the third? Do you just stop your life, everything that is going on for you, to start bearing children from a man who already was previously married and had children? I don't know how she thinks. For me, I personally think, even if it was a situation of, yes, he loves me, what about if something changes tomorrow? Would I be able to move on? Would I be able to get my life back on track? If Judy's brain cells were working and she was thinking in this direction, she would have been able to know that having multiple children in such a short space of time was not wise. At least if the marriage should break up, you should be able to move on. With one child who is already reasonably grown, you can quickly jump back into Nollywood and start your life all over again. Then you would have 4 children, from 3 different fathers, but it's not so bad. Now you're grappling with 6 different kids. But let's dive straight into the main part of this whole story, the stages of grief that Judy might likely pass through if the rumors that we are hearing is true. And let me just tell you, these aren't pleasant. Let us start from denial. Denial is not loud. It is not something that is polished or well curated. It is a smile you wear so people won't see the fractures and the pain in your soul. And Judy, we have been seeing, has been wearing that smile. She posted motivational quotes. If you go to her new page now, all we see is Judy posting motivational quotes. She's sharing spiritual affirmations. She supported Yule publicly, even as he drifted away. We see her promoting Lizzie Gold's movies. Yule started, he dumped Judy and started promoting every of Lizzie Gold's work. What we saw at the beginning was Judy reposting those posts made by Yule promoting Lizzie Gold. I guess at that stage she was still at some sort of denial. She didn't believe that anything was going out of the ordinary. She believed, oh, this is a professional relationship. Remember, we are just analyzing this if the rumors are true, because maybe they are just playing us. Who knows? They might just be playing us behind the scenes. But let's work with if it is true. She started by reposting Lizzie Gold's movies, and as Yule is promoting it, she's reposting it. We also saw her going on Yule's comment section, typing all sorts of things, odogu, stuff like that. And the reason I start to imagine that maybe this is true is because Yule deleted those comments. Now, wait, let me explain. If this is something they planned, let's say this whole fracas is something they planned, I think she should have been wise enough not to make public comments on his posts, only for him to end up. Anyway, what am I saying? Maybe it's just a plan, you comment, I delete it, so people will think that yes, we are no longer together. It might just be a plan. It might also be real life playing out, and we are thinking, oh, it's just a plan and all that. It might actually be this thing is happening in real life. So as we're seeing it, she was going publicly commenting on his post. She was obviously still living in denial. I guess what was going through her mind at that point was, this isn't real, these two will pass, he will not abandon me, we have 3 children for God's sake. But she forgot that this same man has 4 children with another woman, and he completely abandoned all that and moved in with you. So what makes you think he will not abandon you and your children? She might have been thinking, okay, we have history, he chose me, I'm Ijelewai, Ishimili Jiofo, I'm the bursting after Agege bread. Oh well. But the painful irony is this: of course, this is the same one who abandoned his first wife. What makes you think you're special? And the realization of this is the poison hidden inside denial. Then let's move to anger. The anger that you cannot show. When it comes to anger in psychology, it is a stage that a lot of people can see. It is a stage when people come out and, maybe they are coming slowly to a realization that this is happening, and they get angry. They spill, they come out and they rant. But Judy cannot do that. Let's explore Judy's story and how she might actually go through this anger. Judy cannot rage publicly. She cannot come out and scream online. She cannot rant or throw shade. Do you know why? Because Nigerians are waiting to laugh at her, waiting to mock her. Oh my God. They are waiting to say, we warned you. This is karma playing out in real time. In fact, the laughter, I don't even want to imagine it. So her anger cannot publicly come out. So it becomes quiet. It becomes inward, subtle, but very tight. Now we're looking at anger also in real time, because she stopped reposting you. That was anger. She stopped commenting. She went silent. We saw Judy coming out to say, oh, if the marriage is not working, leave. If a man tells you to jump down from a 3-story building, leave. We can see that quiet defiance, that quiet anger trying to come out. She's trying to send an indirect message that we might not be reading now, but we might go back to when, the news finally becomes public. All we are seeing now is that Judy has withdrawn. She's no longer reposting all those posts where Yule is promoting Lizzie Gold's movie. Her anger is silent, and her anger is wearing a mask. All her cryptic posts that she has been making, if you're following her pages, all those things she's been saying, these are not random quotes. This is the kind of subliminal expression people use when their pain is too personal to state outright, and they do not even have the moral ground to state it out. Then let's move to bargaining, the desperate hope. When the cracks widen, the human mind tries to stitch them shut. Rumors say that Judy traveled to Asaba with her baby, according to Stanley on Top, and I don't want to believe that Stanley on Top would say things that aren't true. She traveled all the way with a young child just to see you and beg him. If this is true, this is the classic bargaining behavior. Maybe if I go there, maybe if we talk, maybe if I try harder, maybe if I show that I still care, maybe if I should apologize, maybe if I remind him of the children, maybe he keeps flying all around. Maybe if I do this, if I do that, he'll get back to his senses and we'll come back together. But bargaining is not weakness. It is fear wearing hope's clothing. And the increase in religious posts. If you go through Judy's timeline on her Facebook page, you can see a lot of religious posts connecting to God and trying to tie herself to God. This is someone who has publicly come out to believe in all this marine stuff, all this going to the river. What has light got to do with darkness? Please tell me how you can be promoting God and talking about God when you still believe in all this diabolical stuff. That is what I choose to call it. So how does the two things relate? Remember, when it comes to psychology, a lot of people might not know, but bargaining is also not just bargaining with the human involved, it's also kind of bargaining with God. God, if you can help me, if this can happen, oh my God, that silent cry unto God. If you can help me and he comes back, I will worship you forever. If you can help me and we come back the way we used to be, I will thank you with all my life. We all do that unknowingly in one situation of pain or another. We start saying, God, please, if you can help me, I will serve you for the rest of my life. That is bargaining. So when we're seeing Judy becoming more spiritual, that might be a silent bargaining to God, hoping that in exchange for her supposed spirituality, that God is going to give her heart desires. But it doesn't work that way. Then let's move to depression. This is the stage that probably no one will see, but the stage that will hurt her the most. This is the place where she will go through the most pain. Depression is not about the mental diagnosis that we know about depression. In psychology and the stages of grief, depression is just that stage when you come to full realization that this is happening. The whole thing just hits you. It's not about the tears. It's not always about silence. Sometimes it's numbness. Sometimes it's the disappearing from social media, the utter dissolution you feel, the extreme pain when you come to full realization that this is happening. So this man has finally left me. So this man has done to me what he did to his first wife. So this man is moving with another woman. Now, when it comes to the stages of depression, it's not always visible. The person withdraws themselves inside and goes through the most painful experiences, probably of their life. And if these rumors are true, Judy will go through this phase over and over again. Because when it comes to the stages of grief, it's not always systematic. The first time the breakup rumors hit, she vanished online for a while. That was not coincidence. That was emotional exhaustion. This is a point where the mind whispers, my life is finally crumbling. I can't believe this. Oh, my life is slipping away. What do I do now? This is the stage where karma begins to feel real, not as punishment, but as revelation. Because in suffering, we finally understand the suffering we once dismissed. This is the stage she will likely experience what May experienced for all those years. They were mocking all those years, they were making those videos. This is the point where she will come and understand, so this is what this pain feels like. Is this what this woman had to go through? And if she's a sensible human being, this is probably the stage where she will come to a place of repentance, because she will understand just how painful it can be. Finally, we have acceptance. That is where we have quiet surrender. Acceptance is not peace, far from it. It is the moment the heart stops fighting reality. For Judy, acceptance may look like softer contents, reflective videos, less defensiveness, fewer aggressive affirmations, and more life lesson posts. A shift toward individuality is no longer going to be about us, but about her. But acceptance is not final. Like I said before, the stages of grief are like a loop. She will feel all the stages over and over and over again. It's not like as though when you come to the place of acceptance, oh, it's finally over. No, the whole thing will happen over and over again. You keep moving from one stage of grief to another until maybe after a period of time, you can find balance. Because any trigger can reopen the wound. It might be the children asking for their father. Oh, where is my daddy? Where is my daddy? One of the kids might be crying, I want my daddy. And then the pain hits back all over again. And then you either fall to the stage of depression, or you fall to the stage of denial. I can't believe this. So this man left the kids. Or you fall to the stage of bargaining. It can be any of the stage, and you might keep drifting through the different stages. So that's probably going to be how it's going to be for Judy Austin. It might also be when the bills come up, the school fees is there, and he's not showing up to pay them. The pain hits all over again. It might be seeing him promote another woman like Lizzie Gold. It might be rumors, new rumors online. It might be old promises that he might have made her. She would remember them, and they will begin to haunt her. Acceptance is not a finish line, far from it. It is a pause between the storms. It is like go through the valley, then the hill, then the valley again, then the hill, then the valley. So now that we have looked at all the stages of grief that Judy will likely experience if this relationship collapses, Judy will feel a kind of pain she has never imagined. A pain with layers, a pain with memory, a pain with echoes. Because when the man who left someone for you leaves you for someone else, you don't just feel heartbreak. You feel humiliation, you feel fear, you feel regret. You feel reality twisting itself into a mirror, and that mirror shows you the one thing you never want to admit. Maybe this is what she may felt. Maybe this is what people call karma. Not because God is punishing you, not because life is cruel, but because the universe sometimes returns us the pain we once caused, so we can finally understand it. So whatever happens next, one thing is certain: Judy's emotional journey is far from over. The social media noise will fade, the trends will move on, but the emotional consequences, those remain long after the hashtags die. And if all of this is truly unfolding, this may become the darkest, most painful, and certainly most transformative chapter of her life. Because life has a way of teaching us the lessons we run from. And sometimes those lessons arrive wearing the same pain we once helped create.